Luke, like, what's your sense, just as we go to wrap up, like, of, say, if Ireland were playing France next Saturday in the Stade de France, that was the run of fixtures. Like, what? I'd love to know if Ireland rock up to the Stade de France and give a performance like they did on Saturday. What does that scoreline look like? What does that game look like? Like, where would Ireland be against a France playing like that versus what we saw on the opening night?
It'd be completely different, guys. It'd be a completely different game. Like I think, look, I think France have the edge in us, but if that team deliver on the basics um, like they did in the weekend, they're a fearsome outfit. Like they've got some serious threat there. They've got pace now out wide. Um, they've got that solidity. They've got that big kind of battering ram in the middle of the pitch that actually has a little bit of nuance around him as well. In McCluskey, I think they'd be stingier defensively with Crowley there. So there's no easy gain lines. And look, I think the issue is for Ireland probably against France is probably, well, probably the scrum. Less so. Italy seem to possibly have the best scrum in the competition, but I think they'd struggle at the scrum still. There were still a few issues, I think, against England there. And I do wonder, I mean, England's line-out really did falter. So you would wonder about that. Would they get on as well there? Don't think France would have missed those two kicks at the corner, so maybe they get one try there, and it's a very different complexion to the game. So look, it's very difficult to say. What I would say is I think they've been away with their position because I think they delivered on way more of the basics. They caught the ball, they rooked really well, they defended well. To me, it would have been a way different game. And if they could get fast ball, I think they'll be a threat for anyone if they can get that kind of quality ball against any team. Now, would they get that against France? It's a different question, but you'd certainly be more competitive. We'll put it that way, because that one looked out of sight pretty early. We looked like it was, we were nullified fairly quickly against France and didn't really produce anything in the attack side of the game. So, to me, most of the key pillars of the game, we were way better against England, despite them being poor. We were better, and we would have been better against France. Whether it was enough to beat them in the Stade de France, different question. But would have been a different game, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, I suppose this game for me just kind of it tells me that this team can still reach a level that I wasn't sure they could reach. As we said, Durban is 18 months ago. That was the last time I think a lot of people would say Ireland reached the level we would have been seeing from them in their pomp under Andy Farrell. Now they've shown that, okay, they still can get to that level. Now, time will tell whether England are just really far off the very top teams. As we said, we'll see in the summer when Ireland go to Eden Park, they could become the first team to ever win there. If Ireland go and play like that and beat the All Blacks and take a scalp no team has ever been able to take in the professional era, then we'll know, a year out from a World Cup where they're at. But certainly the mood is definitely different than it was even 7 days ago after Italy.
Even if you go and you play a team like France or you play a team like South Africa or the All Blacks and you play like that and you get beat, people would find that much more palatable than Paris. The problem with Paris was that Ireland were beaten by a better team, but without stamping their authority on the game, without showing their identity. They looked like a team without an identity, only 2 weeks ago. So if Ireland played like they played on Saturday against France and still got beat by two scores, I think people would have found that a lot less worrying than the way that they did get beat. It was the manner of the defeat that was worrying, because the margin of defeat was pretty much what we all expected it to be going into the game. So the fact that this Ireland team looks like a team, that looks like they know what they're trying to do, that looks like they have that identity that they can stamp on a game, even if they get beat by a better team, that would still be much more encouraging than what we saw 2 weeks ago. And that's what's, I suppose, if we zoom out a bit, which I suppose we are doing if we're looking towards the summer and beyond, that's the most important thing, that this team seems to have refound something over the 2 weeks that a lot of us didn't think was going to come back.